Of course, I'm Pete Lakowski from amateurgolf.com, and I'm pleased to welcome Mark Steinbauer, who's the VP of Business Development and really operations of the Spirit International Amateur Tournament, which I think is the greatest secret in golf, Mark. And I want to start off by having you introduce yourself and how you decided to move a successful golf career from being director of golf at many fine places like Carlton Woods. You've been involved as a commentator, a host. How did you decide to take this role with the Spirit, and what can you tell us about the tournament?
Well, I was at the golf course when Corby Robertson, the owner, opened it. I taught his junior camps for years while the course was being built. So I kind of was there on the early stages, and I knew about the tournament. I knew about the thing, but being kind of a marketing guy, I told the guy, I said, it's the best kept secret, like you're talking about. And so at my age, I said, I would love to be able to help you. One of his questions is, why would you do this? I said, I can see we can make this better, bigger event. I said, you've got all the hard work, you've got all the alumni, you've got a great event at #1 course in Texas. I think we should be on television. I think we should get some people involved who are smarter than we are and kind of ally ourselves. And so that's why I called the smarter guys and said, well, how do we do this? And obviously you were very helpful in the points, the Wagger points, and how those work. And I got a good education on how that works. That was a big success as far as changing that. The alumni, I knew was a good alumni. I didn't know was as good. It's amazing how many major championships we've won, how many tournaments we've won, LPGA and PGA. So I think it's a very huge tournament, like the Olympics of golf, and it needs to have a little more pop. And that's where I came in.
Yeah,
and to me, it was a challenge.
The Olympics of golf is really spot on, particularly when the Olympics is now really professional sports. There are professional athletes in the Olympics, and yet the Spirit International Amateur, amateur is in the word, and now you get a chance to get Jordan Spieth representing USA before he goes on to great things. I mean, you're in Texas. I always say a tournament needs a wonderful venue, good weather, and a great field, and you have all those three things. You've got the #1 rated course in all of Texas, Whispering Pines. You've got amazing participants from all countries. And then on top of that, fall weather in Texas. I mean, you should be really nice. So can you tell us a little bit about what the Spirit was like in the past from the perspective of these two-person teams and how they got together and the camaraderie of living in the village and things like that, which people would not know about?
Well, Corby likes to say they come as separate teams and they leave as friends, because they do exist in the village, which is like the Olympic Village, and they get to be friends. And they are, for all practical purposes, the next stars on the PGA Tour. Guys that maybe you don't know their names now, and you will in a few years. And so consequently, it's the next generation. And so he built a venue and a format which merges people together to play as a team, work as a team. And it's been very successful because we've had 20 countries come every tournament from around the world and play in this event. And so we have a thing called Spirit Hall up there, which has all the signatures from the previous players. It's like a museum. It's really incredible. And so I wanted to build upon that and say, well, NCAA's now are on television. NBC is getting in that mode of putting more amateur golf on television. And frankly, I cold called Tom Knapp and just asked him if there was a possibility. And he knew about the Spirit. He said, oh yeah, it's a great tournament. And I go, second question, is it going to be cost prohibitive? And he said, no, he really wanted to put it on the air. And I said, midnight? He goes, oh no, prime time. So it was exploration, and it was great that we're doing it. We're doing 3 hours a day for 3 days live streaming on the Golf Channel. And the 20 countries are going to tap into their affiliates, which all of a sudden we're worldwide. And then we're doing what I call a highlight show. We're doing a beginning opening ceremonies, closing ceremonies, and you film throughout the week. And we got cameras on every hole, Omar Productions, and they put it together in such a way where the final round feels like it's live. You bring in your commentators that are recognizable. People see them on television and say, oh, it's NBC guy. And so I think that'll give us credibility. When you see a name commentator at Whispering Pines sitting in the booth behind 18 green, calling the action, doing interviews throughout the week, showing the beginning and ending and merging together in like a highlight show. It's so much so that we got a quick title sponsor and we got a lot of sponsors for the event. So it was well received. So I think what we're doing with it, with the marketing, the publicity, is to just, in my mind, is raise the awareness of something that's been good for years and just has been hasn't been brought to the forefront in my mind.
Right. Well, Mark, that's why you're the perfect person for the job. So while I had you sort of explain why you might make the decision, it was a little bit of a rhetorical question, because when I heard you were going there, I knew, you're of course, your connections in Texas, the golf industry. You can say the title sponsor if it's announceable, because I think it should be a point of pride for them and for you.
Well, very much so. There's the Will Irwin Headache Foundation is a foundation that I've worked with for the last 7 years. Is raises money for headache research. It's like cluster headaches. It's migraines times 10, and there's no funding for that particular one. And the Jimmy Irwin, who's the head of the foundation, his son had those cluster headaches, and he opened a foundation called Will Irwin Headache Foundation. We've raised about $4 million here in Houston, but his challenge was, how does he expand that? And how does he get it to other parts of the state, other parts of the country? And so we have brought him a venue internationally on television and publicity-wise where he can step out of his Houston area and get a lot of publicity for it. And so he thought it was a natural fit. And I've known him for years, and Charlie Epps known him for years. So he trusts us. And so I think there was a marriage there that he wanted to be exposed to different parts of the world. He's a big golfer, Houston Country Club and Carlton Woods member. And so we've helped him to the tune of $4 million. And I think this is going to put him over the top. And we've had a lot of help from major companies that want to help also contribute to that. And TaylorMade Golf, I'm on their board, and I talked to them about getting involved, and I kind of cheat a little bit there. Their logo is all their staff members. They have Tiger and Rory McIlroy and Jason Day and people like that. And then I put blanks on the end. And the question on the caption was, who's next? And the reality is they're looking for the who's next. And if they can be involved in this event and help a charity and be there when the young kid is in that position to go to the next level, that should help them. So they dove in immediately. So we've got Adidas and TaylorMade on board. I think it's a win-win situation for everyone we've got in so far. And we've got large ideas to raise money internationally, and they're playing a big part of it, which is really a cool idea. And the head guy at TaylorMade has been so nice to me, listening to my out-of-the-box ideas. It's really exciting to know this really could work. And so he says, we're going to do it. So we've got some ideas we're working on with them that'll be withstanding for years, kind of like the Rally for the Cure for Headache Foundation, on a reoccurring basis. And I think raising the money for the charity is Corby Robertson's big deal. He gives a lot of money to the Med Center, and that's our main function. So put on a world-class tournament, raise money for charities is our main job.
Right. And Corby, we've talked to him before. We've interviewed him. He's a philanthropist. I mean, people that have been successful have choices to make in what they do with their time. And not everybody, fortunately for all these great charities, I mean, anybody who's had a migraine headache knows how debilitating that can be, let alone these cluster headaches, which I'm just learning about for the first time, but I can't even imagine living with something like that. So good on you for helping them raise $4 million and for getting a worldwide presence. Let's hone down before we wrap up, Mark. And let's talk about the spirit 2021. I'm going to be there. First of all, you mentioned amateurgolf.com's involvement. We're going to take it over the top. And, we enjoy covering these tournaments. It's not going to be unenjoyable for us to visit Whispering Pines, that's for sure. And we also like to meet all these players. I mean, one of our players that played in events that I've organized, Colin Morikawa, and he was a longtime member of our site. I've interviewed him several times, just bumped into him at the US Open, and he saw the hat, amateur golf. He said, well, I'm so glad you're still doing amateur golf. And he may not realize I founded the company. I have no choice but to do it. But I enjoy exactly what you're talking about. And TaylorMade is going to be a natural fit. When I see them at the Walker Cup, it's the same reason that they're signing John Pack or any new player, that they're going to meet a lot of international players at the Spirit. So tell us about the number of teams, number of players, typical countries that are coming, and a little bit about Whispering Pines, because we're going to show pictures in the background while we run this, but tell me a little bit about it all.
Well, what's not the Whispering Pines is a wonderful place. I've seen it from day one, and they continue to make it better. They closed the course last year, and they put zoysia grass wall to wall. Very expensive, but it was a game changer. When you have these big trees that you don't want to cut down, you want some shaded areas, you want a firm and fast condition, you want roll-offs on the false fronts and things of that nature. It was a game changer. And so he did that. The cottages have been added, more cottages. The place, if you haven't played in a while, they say, wow, this place is really getting better. And Corby always wants to make things better. So they continue to grow and get better as time goes on. It's a perfect venue. I mean, I say Whispering Pines, the home of the Spirit. And so when we wear shirts, we wear the Spirit, Whispering Pines logo with the Spirit logo. They're kind of synonymous. So it's like the Masters and Augusta National. Hopefully be a medium synonymous with that. Yeah. So I'm thinking this is great. So, in being the promotional guy, I'm thinking there's so many things you could do with that. And the tournament has 20 countries coming. And you have, because of the change of format being we're counting stroke play as well as the team play, I think we'll get the cream of the crop. And we've always got the cream of the crop, but I think more so now. So if a kid's sitting there like a Cole Hammer in November thinking, I can make a lot of points here. And the guy at the USGA told me if the 2019 event would have been that format, it would have been an incredible number of points as you work your way down. He said last place would have got twice as many points as they got for participating in the team championship. And so I thought it was a win-win. So I think if we look for ways to make it better, and this is what you do, and that's where your advice is so valuable as to how do you make it the best there is. And so I think we have a nice venue. I think we have the people that have the will and desire to put it on the map. I enjoy it, putting it on the map. I think the players, and we're having a trailer there from TaylorMade Golf that feel like the professionals. They'll have all the bells and whistles that feel like they're going to the US Open. They'll have a tower behind 18 green, a jumbotron up there. It'll look like you're at a professional event, probably more so than it has been in the past. It'll have a lot of pizzazz. And then for the people who love golf, who watch the next generation, I think our members enjoy meeting some of these kids and making a note like, I think this kid will be around for a while.
Of course.
And then when they become, we had the AJGA HP Classic at Carlton Woods, and I jokingly took a picture with Cameron Champ. He's probably 15 from San Francisco. And I said, this picture is going to be worth something for years. Can you sign it? And the kid was embarrassed. He goes, me sign it? And I go, yeah, you're going to be. And sure enough, now he's on the tour, and so that is going to happen. Some of these people will be the stars of next year, next generation, and it's fun to watch them in this venue where you can get right up next to them, talk to them, see them live, get to know them in the Olympic Village, and then watch them as they grow.
Yeah, and it's a small group from each country, but it's a lot of countries. And you name drop a little bit. I mean, we know Jordan Spieth. Some of the Texans you can start with is enough to get you going.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was amazed when you said the Jordan Spieth, Jason Day, Brandt Snedeker, Lexi Thompson, who won the names the names are on the wall over here, and it's a whole wall. And
We'll
I'm
show it.
amazed at all of it. I can't get this over there, but
No, you don't need to do that, but we'll get a picture from you. And the other thing is the women's aspect, the men and women,
Yeah.
and how many people are on each team from each country.
There's 4 on a team. The United States team is captained by Stacey Lewis this year, and she'll pick a couple of men and a couple of women, 2 men and 2 women. That'll form the team. So they'll have a women's competition individually and a men's competition individually, and they merge their score to make a team championship.
Perfect.
And so I think there's a lot of, you'll see a lot of red, white, and blue. You'll feel like a little bitty mini Ryder Cup. They'll be proud to represent their country. They'll see people like you interviewing them. They've probably never been interviewed before. They'll see themselves on television. We're going to film them coming up 18 on television. So when you come up 18, they'll see their pretty picture on the Jumbotron and think, this is pretty cool. So a question I would ask them if I was interviewing was, is this the first time the Jason Days and Jordan Spieth represented your country, one, and played for your country? And how did that help you in Ryder Cups and tournaments like that? And so they would probably say it was the first time because I was 16. And that experience was similar to me playing in President's Cup, Ryder Cup, things like that. So we're kind of the entry level. And so the members and the ownership of Whispering Pines is super proud of the quality of players that come, young men and young women. And we're thrilled to have Stacey Lewis as the captain this year, but it's a very exciting event.
Well, wonderful, wonderful representative of all of golf and some of the things that she's gone through in her life. And she's a great role model. I know all these players, it's amazing at how young they start charitable foundations and they start giving back to the game. So I know that you won't have any lack of tour players that want to get involved with the Spirit, particularly those like Jordan and Jason, the ones that have played in the past. And I just want to thank you for getting amateurgolf.com involved. We're going to help be your megaphone, if you will, to help broadcast the word that this is something that the insiders or just casual fans of golf might enjoy watching that's different than your typical PGA Tour event. And we're going to explain what it is. All the questions I've asked you, we'll talk about on the site and in our social media and other places. And again, Mark Steinbauer from the Spirit Golf Association and Whispering Pines. And as you said, they go hand in hand. And we're going to see you in Texas in November. What are the dates, Mark? Let's just get that straight.
It's November 1st through the 7th. It's the whole week. The competition is the 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Okay, great.
We're
Thank you for your time.
And live streaming for the 3 days.
It's going to be awesome. We'll have links, of course, right on our homepage. It'll be very easy to find on amateurgolf.com. And it's also the Spirit Golf. You can Google it. It's going to come right up. And you'll see all these wonderful things we talked about. I'm going to try to include some of them in our video. And thanks for your time, Mark.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Have a good day.